Okay, so it looks like we have some more previews from Daiwa Japan, and these look to be official because these pictures and specifications come directly from Daiwa Japan's website. Now up first is the ZILLION 10, a reel that I showed you guys in the last video. Now, of course, it will sport a 10-to-1 gear ratio, which equates to about 41.7 inches per turn. But as you can see from the pictures, it won't be just some current ZILLION SV with a higher gear ratio. Now, Daiwa's website says it will have a metal frame and handle side plate, but they will be made from two different types of metal. The frame will be made of magnesium, or as Daiwa likes to call it, air metal in their marketing terminology, and then the handle side plate will be aluminum. So very much like what Shimano has done with their non-DC Antares for the last couple of models. So that being said, it won't be a super lightweight reel like the Steez, as Daiwa's website says it will weigh about 215 grams, which is about 7.6 ounces. Now once again, you can see it has the SV spool with the air brake inductor, the zero adjuster spool tension, and a Steez/T3 style brake adjustment to separate it from the standard ZILLION SV. Now the bad news is that the price has gone up to 43,000 yen. Now in case you were wondering, that's about the same as the current Shimano METANIUM MGL, which sports a magnesium frame and magnesium side plate and weighs much less. So if they bring this to America, it will probably cost at least $400. So that means I'm definitely probably not going to be getting one, because at that price point I expect some form of Daiwa's micro gears, the hyper mesh. But there probably is a good chance of this thing coming to America, and it will probably compete directly against Shimano's METANIUM, which is probably going to be renewed or updated this year. That's going to be a tough sell for this ZILLION 10. Okay, so up next is a reel that I'm the most excited about from Daiwa this year. Now, Daiwa usually releases variants of their Steez reels during its life cycle, and since they came out with the Steez CT last year, this year, of course, they come out with a variant which is going to be the Steez Air TW. So this is going to be an official bait finesse Steez from Daiwa, and it really makes me happy that they are not abandoning bait finesse. Now, Daiwa actually has made some big changes to the standard Steez CT to make it into the air model. Now, the main and most important change is going to be the spool. So the Steez CT already had a very small diameter spool at 30 millimeters. Now the Air will have an even smaller diameter spool at only 28 millimeters. So to put that in perspective, if you have a Abu Garcia REVO LTX or a Shimano BFS reel or even a Daiwa Air reel, the Steez Air spool will be a whopping 4 millimeters smaller in diameter than the spools in these reels. So with that being said, the weight saved by shrinking the spool that much might give this Steez Air the title of having the lightest stock spool in the world, potentially taking that title away from Abu Garcia's REVO LTX BF8. Now, unlike the SV Light reel, this spool will have porting, and it looks like it's going to be made by KTF from these couple of pictures that I see. Now sadly, it will still sport the air brake system, which by my measured casting greatly decreases the casting distance with heavier lures. Now with that being said, I fully expect this reel to be able to sling ultralight baits with ease. Now another thing that's significant about the Steez Air is that it will be the first Daiwa to come in under 5 ounces. Now the specs on the website says 135 grams, which equals 4.7 ounces. So it will finally join Abu Garcia, Shimano, LEWS, and yes, even Fish Band in the sub 5 ounce club. Now it will come in 2 gear ratios, a 6.8 and a very fast 9.1, and also have 12+1 bearings. Now unfortunately there's only 2 picks of this reel so far, but as you can see it will have its own special knob and caps and its own special handle. But stupidly, this Steez Air sports a very ridiculous 68,000 yen price tag. So that's a whopping 10,000 yen over the standard Steez CT and their current flagship bait finesse reel, the T3 Air. So I'm not sure if this reel will replace the T3 Air or be sold alongside it, but what you will get over the T3 Air is going to be the magnesium body that's smaller and lighter and more compact. But the T3 Air has a far superior brake system in my opinion. Now I'm very disappointed at this price. They didn't adopt the T3 Air brake system, and of course no mention of micro gears. Now with that being said, since I'm a bait finesse junkie, I think I'm gonna try to sell some reels and possibly get one of these reels in the future. Probably not when it comes out, but I'm gonna have to save up some money for this one. Now of course with this price tag and the fact that it's a bait finesse reel, I seriously doubt that this is going to come to America, because if it did, it would probably be priced at around $800. So there we go guys, the official Steez bait finesse, the Steez Air TW. Okay, so I saved the most important reel for last, and that's going to be the new Tatula SV. Now this is a reel that I'm pretty sure is coming to America because apparently it sold very well for a little while, at least on Tackle Warehouse's website. Now of course the big news about the Tatula SV is that it will sport the new smaller frame, and it looks like it will have the same frame as the Tatula Elites because of the engraved Daiwa Vector logo. Now the palm side plate looks to be a combination of the standard Tatula 100 and the Elites, because it will have the Stealth Spider as well as the Daiwa Vector graphic. Now the other big change is going to be the spool. This new Tatula will have an even smaller spool than before, coming in at only 32 millimeters, so I'm sure that the spool weight will be slightly reduced. Now a 32 millimeter spool will make it the same diameter as its arch nemesis, the CURADO 70. Now of course, being an SV spool, it's going to sport the air brake, but I hope Daiwa will learn their lesson and made the inductor smaller so it won't hinder the casting distance so much, because if a new CURADO 70 replacement comes out sporting an MGL spool, it's pretty much going to be game over. Now it will come with the same 3 gear ratios, the 6.3, the 7.3, and the 8.1, but it will have 1 extra bearing, so the total is going to be 7+1. Now according to Daiwa's website, the price has actually dropped a little bit, but I expect the price to stay the same here in America when it comes at about $200. Now I'm not sure if they will announce it at the Bassmaster Classic or ICAST, but just know a CURADO 70 replacement is sure to be announced this year, so that means it's time for another rivalry. Now, the last reel I'm going to talk about is not a JDM model, but actually a Southeast Asia model. Now, it is a variant of the Daiwa Z2020 made specifically for the Southeast Asian market. As you can see, it's painted bright yellow, and the only other thing I see that is different from the JDM Z is the fact that they use these EVA power style knobs. So everything else appears to be standard Z2020, so that means it's going to be full metal, and it will have Daiwa's best braking system in the MagForce 3D. And it will be very expensive, probably coming in at least $500. Now, there are other brand new reels, both bait casting and spinning, that Daiwa put on their website, but these were the reels that I found significant for my channel. But I do encourage you to go to Daiwa Japan's website yourself and check out all the new releases. Now, sadly, still no information on the new Shimanos, but I will let you know as soon as I find out something. Okay guys, thanks a lot.